So it gives you more purpose. We need purpose in our life, right? So
Absolutely. I was watching the show. I mean, you guys, you and Tiffany have gotten me where I keep watching Netflix. I find more shows on Netflix. But anyway, there was this one show, and I'm not gonna, I don't, it was good. It was actually good. I'm glad they're steering me to good shows, but I was surprised by it. But one thing it kept saying, it was about older people, and they were like, that they were starting to retire. Or they kept saying, "You need to retire. You need to retire." And the guy said, "Don't retire. You need to get a job. Do anything. It doesn't matter, because as soon as you stop, you don't have a purpose, you lose your will to live. So you got to have a purpose. And that way, if you know why you're here, you have your purpose. So it's like the
yeah,
purpose thing is a big deal.
it
It's a
really is.
mm-hmm.
The assisted living facility that my grandma was at, we went in there one time and their whole courtyard was like they had all these little animals in there, right?
Mm-hmm.
And
Mm-hmm.
we're like, is that a chicken coop? And the gal that was working there, she goes, oh, you have no idea. Just giving all
Yeah.
of these residents something to do that has purpose. They need to take care of these animals.
Yeah.
Their health is better. Everything about them is better. Their mental health, physical health.
Yes.
And so they had done studies on that. And so they had filled their courtyard with all these little animals that were going to need TLC and
Good.
fed and all the things.
Mm-hmm.
And they were, I mean, I would want to go there. It's like, what? You have
Yeah.
animals? Okay.
Yeah. And
Yeah.
that's what they were saying. Just get any job. It doesn't matter. See, that gives you responsibility. You have to be somewhere. You gotta show up. It's that kind of thing.
Yeah.
You gotta
Something's
do things.
relying on you, someone,
Yeah.
something. Yeah.
Mhm.
Very,
Yeah,
very true.
completely agree. I'm wholeheartedly in alignment with that. It's like,
Yeah.
just because you're the age doesn't mean you have to stop.
No.
And if you do stop, maybe the structured job, find something else. Find something that gives you purpose.
I
You
was
know?
I was talking to a couple of gals or sisters and their grandma is 98 years old and still lives by herself.
Mhm.
And they were talking about how they take turns every day somebody goes and has dinner with her and stuff.
Yeah.
So but I was like, if I was to live to 98, I would want it like that, like not
Me too.
necessarily I'm living alone, but that I'm
I'm,
still
yeah,
clear of mind and
clear.
yeah,
Exactly. I that would be my dream. I would love that. I want to be. I
yeah,
mean, I'm alone now. Why not? What's different?
right.
The thing is that you're still with it. Yeah, then you can do it. So that's what
Very
Tiffany has to look forward to.
nice. Okay, well, in that case, Tiffany, you better start having some children because it was the granddaughters that were helping
Uh,
take care of grandma. So just saying. All right, what's our next question?
Okay. Sorry. This is from Melania. Sorry, I'm not pronouncing that correctly. It's like a handle. I have done a QHHT session in the past. I wasn't able to go under. What are the usual reasons behind this? Should I try another person?
well, and that's something. And this is how it comes in so many times: is it didn't happen? What went wrong? And it's like, I don't have all the information. I can't tell you what possibly happened. It could be the person, it could be, and maybe from your perspective, you think nothing happened, but maybe something did happen. And
Yeah,
so that's where
almost
we need a
almost
lot more
always. Yeah,
always.
there's a
Yeah.
really, really good chance you were under and just didn't realize it because your idea of being under looked different than
Yeah.
what it actually was.
Right, because so
So,
many people, I mean, they think if I was aware the whole time. They'll usually say, I was awake. And it's like, you weren't awake, your eyes were closed. You're not awake when your eyes are closed. But you might have been aware, and that's okay. Being
mhm.
aware is fine.
it's
As
it's
long as
almost
mhm.
it's more common than anything else. You're going to be aware,
Yeah.
but you're going to be very focused and relaxed, and that is hypnosis.
Right.
So, yeah, it
Yeah,
and
so it's different for everybody. Yeah, we don't know what your expectations. That's why we always say go in with no expectations, because if you have expectation that you're going to go unconscious like everybody used to do when mom did it a long time ago. And there's a reason why that doesn't happen now. But if you're thinking that's what it's supposed to be and it doesn't happen, then that means it didn't work. And that's not at all what it means. It just means we're different now. Our DNA is different and we stay aware.
Well,
Where
yeah,
before we used to
because of
go
your mom.
unconscious. Because
Because of your mom, we've all evolved, and
yes.
now we're so much closer to that connection to the higher self. So when we go under in hypnosis, our subconscious, our superconscious mind doesn't need to take us so far. So we are pretty aware. But when I went in, when I went under, I was laying there and I'm answering all the questions and I'm going with those first thoughts and I'm doing the past life and all the things. And I think I remember thinking, man, I am really aware of what's going on. In fact, I think I said this before, I was almost hyper aware of the room.
Yes.
But then when I came out of it, she's like, sorry about the neighbors slamming their door. And I'm like, I didn't hear that. Oh, well, and the dog barking down the street. Oh, I didn't hear that either.
You
and
didn't
so,
hear the dog?
I know, right? You didn't hear the dog bark? That's hilarious. There's a story.
He's ultra sensitive to dog barking.
It's PTSD and not because of my own dogs, because of some neighbor dogs. But anyways, there's a story there. Anyway, so you will be very aware, but you're also very not aware of a lot of other things that are happening.
Yes.
Like in my office space, I share it with a acupuncture or chiropractor. Sorry. The first one was an acupuncturist, now it's a chiropractor. And sometimes when we're there at the same time, his people will come in and they're just like, they see him and they're loud and they're like, hey, and blah, blah. It's like, oh, and I'm over there going, please don't pull him out. Please don't pull him out. And they're like, they're on the table. And afterwards I'll be like, I'm sorry that those people came in. They're like, I heard them, but it just didn't even faze me.
Mm-hmm.
And it's just, so if the one that's asking that question, give it another try, I would say. But maybe you want to try a different person. Maybe that was part of it. Maybe you didn't resonate with that or something of that nature. But with these new ways of looking at how to go into your session, maybe that would help, is to just know that you're going to be very aware. You're going to just be in a very relaxed state and you go with that first thought that comes in and you're going to get some phenomenal information if you can just trust it and go with that.
Exactly.